Hello, good evening and welcome to Spotlight. My name is Noam Falong. You're watching MX24 Television, your home for fun, fearless and factual content. In this sitting, we're looking at security issues within Ghana, which have become very topical. We're weighing in on the conversation with Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram constituency. We're also going to be touching briefly on LGBTQ plus issues because a group in Parliament is raising a bill to criminalize such activities. And we want to find out more about that because the Honorable Sam Jata George is one of those members of Parliament. Welcome to Spotlight, Honorable.
Thank you, Noel. Very good afternoon to you.
How is it going?
Quite well. We can't complain, even though we have complaints. You know,
you have many complaints.
Many complaints, but you're afraid that when you talk, you get brutalized or attacked by agents of state. So the culture of silence is real.
We're going to be hearing some of them. The Minister for Communication has debunked that culture of silence. We'll see if you can justify it. What's this red band on your hand about?
Well, today in Parliament, the minority entered the chamber with red bands on our arms to signify our anger at the actions of members of the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service and the extrajudicial attacks on citizens of the Republic. This past week has seen untold, unimagined violence wrought on unarmed civilians. First in Ejura and then in Wa. I mean, in Ejura, I listened to the doctor who treated the gunshots victims. He makes the claim that one of the deceased was actually shot in the back. The bullet entry was from behind and exited his chest and killed him instantly. Even in warfare, the international rules governing warfare say that you don't shoot a man in his back. When a man has his back to you, it means he's retreating. So you don't shoot a man in the back. Yet you saw, and we've seen the videos from Ejura of a member of the Ghana Armed Forces or someone wearing a Ghana Army uniform who alighted from a Ghana Army vehicle, go into a marksman position on one knee, which is a specialized warfare position for those who have security inclinations, and take an aim and fire, and clearly shot at someone who had his back to him. You know, and so we cannot as representatives of the people countenance this. And then you see what happens in Wa. Somebody is careless and loses his phone and then decides that everybody in town must get brutalized. People are put in a gutter and slapped. People are attacked and assaulted by a group of soldiers who are behaving like a ragtag army of vagabonds. You have a pregnant woman assaulted. I mean, where is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces?
Oh no, but let's stay on Ejura for a bit. This clash that occurred between the army and the youth, I don't know if you saw the police statement that was put out. They put out a press release on the day it occurred, and the explanation was that the youth attacked with all sorts of arms, clubs, machetes, stakes, and so they were basically defending themselves.
All right. You see, people must be intelligent enough when they want to tell lies. And the officer who signed that document, I think the regional PRO of police or something, is a disgrace to himself and his family. To have put his signature on such a document, that tells blatant lies. We saw the videos. You see, thanks to God for this thing called a smartphone.
Maybe he saw more than we saw.
What we saw is enough to draw conclusions. We saw a group of young people demonstrating, angry, and rightfully so. They had every right to express their displeasure at the death of Kaka simply because he was criticizing government. And so they had every right to demonstrate their anger. What did we see? We saw a team of military and police officers arrive at the scene. It's not like the video we saw was midway. We saw the arrival of the soldiers and the police. As soon as they jumped out of the vehicle, first thing they did was to begin shooting. No engagement. 2 days ago, the IGP appeared before me and my committee at the Public Accounts Committee. And I asked him a specific question. I'll make that video available to you. Asked him a specific question on what the protocols on the use of force are. Because international standards have 5 levels. When you arrive at the scene, you first and foremost must have verbal communication. After verbal communication, you then go to physical presence on the floor, an armed physical presence. Before you then go to physical restraint. Before you go to the use of minimal lethal force, before the lethal force that we saw them use. We saw the videos. There's nothing the police saw that we didn't see. They jumped down. We didn't see the crowd shoot. We saw the police and the military shoot. We saw the military get into marksman position and take shots and kill people. That's what we saw. Joy FM had a second video of the young man standing there was a line of young men standing, and we saw one just drop like a piece of wood because he had been hit by a bullet. He was not armed. So what did they see that we have not seen? Can they put out that footage? We dare the police to put out that footage.
There was also a statement by the Ashanti Regional Minister, and he justified this because he said they had received intelligence prior to the burial that the youth intended to burn down the police station after the burial. So they sent, they brought in reinforcement, and that's how come the military ended up over there. Don't you think they were acting against having a bad situation? Imagine if the youth had burned down the police station.
Another senseless statement. Senseless statement. Very unintelligent from the regional minister. You've got intelligence that people are going to carry out an attack against the police station, and you did not take preemptive steps to barricade the police station or create a cordon that would prevent them from gaining access to it. The people had to hit the road and do their demonstration, and your way of protecting it was to have soldiers come in without any engagement, open fire directly into the line of people. And you see, we have a problem in this country where we've made the military a phone call away, but any Tom, Dick and Harry. Just anybody can pick a phone and then the military is deployed. Hell no. A proper democracy doesn't work that way. Policing, crowd control, riot control is not the job of the military. It is the job of the police service. And so when there must be a chain of command. But we've abused it.
And when the police lose control of the crowd, what happened?
Was it evident from the videos you've seen that the police had lost control? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Your military is not trained in crowd control. So why do you want to keep having your military as a first line in crowd control? The military has no training in crowd control. The military is actually trained in crowd suppression, not crowd control. So when with their training, all you see is they move in, and the only way they know how to suppress is to open live fire, live ammunition on unarmed citizens. Look, these are the things we hear happen in countries that are failed states, where there is no law and order. But not under the man who we were told is a protector of human and civil liberties.
What could they have done differently?
Oh, well, if he had implemented the reforms the Emil Short Commission recommended for our security architecture, if he had taken on those reforms, you would have seen a better structural alignment of our security services. No DC or MC or regional office minister would just pick a phone and make a call, and soldiers will go with no rules of engagement, and they arrive and they start shooting. It's the same thing we saw happen in Techiman South. Soldiers arrive, open fire into unarmed citizens. And you see, it is because no punitive measures have been taken. His commander-in-chief, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is not just president. There's a reason why his title is President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Now,
so
let me just explain.
Just in 10 seconds, you would have expected to see him demand action and discipline and punitive measures of the murderers. What happened in Techiman South was not just a killing. It was murder in cold blood by men wearing Ghana Army uniforms. Has he told us anything? No. So
he has instructed the Interior Minister, who has commissioned an inquiry into it.
How many months later? This happened in December, 7th of December. No, we are in July. 6 months on. We have not even, the military and the Interior Minister has not been able to identify to us the individuals who were behind that, before we even know that an investigation is going on. You take that seriously? Because of that lack of action on the part of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, you realize that it has emboldened the renegade murderous cabal within the Ghana Army to go on. Because Techiman South happened and there were no punitive measures, Ejura has happened. Because Ejura has happened and there were no punitive measures, Wa has happened. And it is going to keep happening if we do not rise up as a people and say enough is enough to the people in power. Because the power of the people is greater than the people in power.
Now, you mentioned their inability to be able to implement some of the recommendations of the Emil Short Commission. Just for the benefit of our viewers, Honorable Sam Jetta George was brutalized also by security personnel at the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election. I'm sorry to bring that memory back, but why are you making the connection here? What have those recommendations got to do with what has happened now?
It spoke about the chain of command and how officers were deployed, how state assets were deployed, and how there must be a proper chain of command, how policemen who must move, must the IGP authorize it? At what level does the IGP get involved? At what level does the regional commander get involved? Who calls for what? All of that was discussed. And you see, it is because of the impunity. That report said, discipline Azugu, discipline Kenolopoku, reprimand Brian Echiampong. None of this was done. It said, streamline the operations of national security. None of this was done. That's why you see your own colleague, Caleb Kuda and Zoe Abubedu, now get punished again by this same national security apparatus, where the same Azugu, and now not Kenolopoku but Kenolajiman, misbehaves in there. And what happens? Kenolajiman is promoted. He's literally promoted because, look, the 64 Infantry Unit is now the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Armed Forces. It is the most prestigious unit of the Ghana Armed Forces. Previously used to be airborne, but now with the positioning realignment of 64's operational duties, it's just like being an FPU commander. The FPU is the most prestigious unit in the Ghana Police Service. 64 is our counter-terrorism unit. So an officer assaults a journalist, kicks him in the groin, and he's supposed to be reprimanded, and you take him and make him the commander of your most elite unit in the army.
Honorable, let's come to this demonstration that the minority is planning. Doesn't it foment the situation? The National Peace Council released a statement asking all of us to remain calm. Please, let's not discuss the Peace Council. Please, with the greatest respect to you and your viewers, let's have this conversation without mentioning the defunct Peace Council. The Peace Council is an aberration, and the men and women who sit on that council will have to answer to the God who created them on the day of judgment. Their conscience has been seared, and that's why they are silent. Let's not talk about them. They can only advise. Did we not see them previously in this country? Did we not see how they were issuing press statements every day? They've issued a press
that's why I said
statement.
it is a defunct council. Let's not talk about them. They are blots on the conscience of this nation, and their conscience has been seared.
Where is the demonstration going to be held?
Well, it's a demonstration by the National Youth Wing of the NDC. The Parliamentary Minority Caucus is going to support it. We have issued our routes. The police has issued some, as usual, some hogwash statement saying that they can't provide us protection. We didn't ask them for protection anyway.
What did you ask them for?
The Public Order Act says that we should notify them. We don't need their protection. We don't need the protection of the police. So yes, they can stay. They can stay, but you see, the IGP and his men, those who sit in the air-conditioned offices and vehicles, must know that the ordinary policeman on the street is feeling the brunt of the bad governance and the need for this country to be fixed. The young gentleman who was shot and killed in a bullion van and his family wish that the vice president, who promised us 2 years ago that he was going to provide bulletproof vests for policemen, would have kept his word.
Oh no, but with all these security issues going on, a few armed robberies, insecurity, the police are telling you they can't be there for your demonstration.
We don't need them.
Yes, but aren't you worried about the safety of the demonstrators?
But now we are safe. We look, if you put your safety in the hands of this police service, you are at risk. You are better off protecting yourself. So we are going to be protected by ourselves. We'll protect ourselves. We don't need
But you don't have
the
what
police.
it takes
The police that can protect
you don't
their
have
own.
The expertise, the equipment to protect yourself.
Protection from what? We are marching to register our protest. We get to the Flagstaff House and hand over our petition. Protection from what? Is it the vehicles, road users? Don't worry, that one we'll have ashes who would make sure that vehicular traffic moves and our people are all protected.
What if what if someone who doesn't want you to do that demonstration attacks you at some point?
The police will have to arrest. The police should arrest that person.
But they're not going to be there.
No, but the police is supposed to be everywhere.
So why don't you wait for them to be available?
Wait for them to be available.
To be able to give you security.
We don't need their security. And let us serve notice. If anybody thinks that they can come and stand in our way and stop us, then that person is fooling himself. And
there's a COVID protocol also. For a while now, there's
been COVID protocol?
A lot of ban on crowds.
Apostle Peter said, follow me as I follow Christ. We are following the president as he follows his own protocols. When the president went to Sakura Wono, did he follow the protocol? The way he followed the protocols, the way we are going to follow the protocols. When the president is touring the northern part of Ghana and lining up school kids, that one the protocols have gone on holiday. When Shatawale and Infinix yesterday held a street jam at Circle, where was the police? And they want to come and talk about COVID protocols.
COVID is transmitted through crowded places. Will your protesters all be wearing masks?
Everybody's going to wear masks.
Will you observe social distancing?
We are going to observe the protocols. We are in an outdoor environment, and so we'll try as much as possible to observe the social distance protocols.
What about safety of passers-by, traffic control? That's what the police will be doing also.
It is their job. Whether we are doing
that's what they're saying. Wait till they can give you.
Have you ever seen a day where there is no traffic in Accra? Have you seen a day where there is no traffic in Accra? Look, people who are even going to sit in the traffic will be blowing their horns in support of us because, but for other activities they have, they support our move for a request for justice. Because you see, no, if you don't support this movement demanding justice, it happened to Sam George. Oh, it's nobody's business. It happened to the editors of Modern Ghana. You remember? When national security stormed their place, arrested them, seized their laptops, we were told that they were engaged in cyber fraud. Up to today, nobody has taken them to court. We then saw it.
Are they not unrelated issues? The army, the police,
you see,
national security.
It is national security is actually your umbrella body that coordinates your security services. So we are looking at all the breakdown and infractions that have been occasioned on unarmed citizens by these agents of state, be they the army, be they the police, be it national security, be it BNI, to the armed robbery led by Azugu and his people in Asankregwa, which led to the recent issues he's having at national security, where they went and robbed the casino, all in the name of national security. You get it? To the attack on Caleb Kuda, to what we've seen, what we saw in Techiman South, what we saw in Ododo, what we saw in Ablekuma Central, what we saw in Savlubu. This was the only election in the 8th Republic where 8 people have died. Look, even in 2000, where the military strongman Jerry Rawlings was losing power, his party was losing power, people did not die for President Kufuor to become president. When President Kufuor was handing over power to President Mills, people did not die. When President Mahama was handing over power to this same President Akufo-Addo, people did not die.
Let's go to WA, which is the most recent in these issues that we've had.
And sadly will be yet the latest, not the end, because until we demand action from those responsible, it will continue to happen.
Right. Did you watch the WA video?
Yes, I have.
We saw military men, some numbering about some 5-6 military men who were beating people on the streets, citizens, yes, regular people. The information we had later was that one of them had lost his mobile phone. I have no idea if he was trying to just punish everyone for the loss of his mobile phone, but everybody got their fair share of beatings. Whoever they encountered on the street was beaten. People were put in gutters and beaten. What do we do to these kind of military men?
First and foremost, you must court-martial them. Then discharge them.
For the benefit of our viewers, can you break that down?
A court-martial will be a military tribunal. Normally, when an officer is serving in the military or in any of the security service, especially the military, when he has to stand trial, there's a military tribunal before a military judge. So you court-martial them and discharge them dishonorably, because we have what we call the honorable discharge and then the dishonorable discharge. A dishonorable discharge from the military will show that they had disgraced the army, and so the army was disgracing them as well. Now, after you dishonorably discharge them, you then put them before court for criminal charges of assault against those people, and pursue civil action for compensation for the individuals who were assaulted. You get it? To serve as a deterrent to others in the army. Because you see, like I said, you asked me what was the chain of linkage, the linkage between the other cases I was mentioning. When people in the when people in the security services realize that, oh, that's this thing, even if I do it, oh, long for long will call some judge, they will talk about it for 1 hour, then people will bash us for 1 week, and then the matter dies. We are going to have the military high command come to the White House Palace, come and beg. As MEC, Ejura, we've killed people. We've gone to beg the chief imam. Use an Air Force helicopter, carry him and the vice president. They will go and sit with the families, promise the families of the dead some compensation, and then matter die. You embolden and empower these criminals in uniform to continue to perpetrate such action. And you see, you may sit back today and say, I don't care. I don't care. But that's the same way when COVID started. People were hearing the deaths and hearing the infections, and it was just numbers. When Koyopon Nkrumah and the people and his colleagues would come and stand and give you the numbers, it was just numbers. And as it continued to get deeper, it became a friend or a work colleague. Then from there, it became a family member. Then people started catching the virus themselves. That is how these things, that's how a pandemic spreads. And so this culture, you may think that, oh, it's not my business. It happened to Sam George. It happened to Caleb Kuda. It happened in Techiman South. It happened in Ejura. It's happened in Wa. Tomorrow, it will be in your neighborhood. And you see, if you do not deal with them now, you embolden them to continue to misbehave.
And so let me deal with them any other way, because, you know, discharging them puts them out there with so much training, so much knowledge of the use of force and arms. Doesn't that further endanger the people?
Oh, that one, it doesn't. Such people become persons of interest whose actions are monitored post their discharge. You get it? Look, you must serve as you must issue and serve notice that there is deterrence enough. You must make it a disincentive. You get it? For people to know that there is a price to pay. But when I know there is no price to pay, it's just going to be talk shop as always. Then nothing happens. You see, we need to make sure that. And let's not get it twisted. I have massive respect for the armed forces and the police service, because I believe that we have some fantastic professionals in these services. But there's a new corps of riffraffs who have been enlisted without going through the regular processes. We don't know yet if these... Oh, I am telling you for a fact that there's a new crop of officers. When I say officers, I don't mean commissioned officers. Men who have been enlisted into these forces. Many of them go through 3 months training. Some of them cannot even spell their names. But because of political patronage, they are put in there. Who puts them there? Oh, the politicians. It's us. We are to blame for it. We put them in there. So and you're saying it's not just an NPP phenomenon? Oh, look, I won't... But say the politicians, that covers all of you. Look, why? You think NDC people did not put their people in the military at the time, or the police at the time? They did, but there's a big difference. There's a big world of difference. I'll tell you what the difference is. And that's why even at times, many of the NDC foot soldiers got angry with the party hierarchy. I'm not the NDC, yes, and I'm not against protocol recruitment. I am not against it. But I'm saying that if you're going to do protocol recruitment, let it be recruitment of qualified persons. So there is the base qualification. We want to take 5,000 people. Now we have 8,000 qualified persons. So maybe my protocol will help an individual who is part of that 8,000 to be part of the 5,000. That I'm not against. But where somebody doesn't even qualify for the 8,000, but because of the politician who he knows, he is picked and sent in there, and someone who is qualified is overstepped. So we have to tackle again from the point of the politicians too. When people go into the when we did recruitments under the NDC, you can go and check the records. What was at the training school? You go through the full grill, 18 months training. Today, people go in 3 months, they've passed them out.
What's the evidence of the 3 months?
Recently, to let you see how bad.
Seems like it's just the same thing being done. Same thing the NDC did. The MPP
to let you see how bad things are. One of the state institutions recently wanted to provide armed guards for some of his officers. As usual, they were asked to go to the depot to go and do shooting training. These are supposed to be people who will be armed bodyguards for officers of state. When they went there, some of them scored 0/10. They couldn't shoot because they were recruited in a haphazard manner. They didn't go through the proper drills and training. Some of them even have eyesight problems, but they're all wearing uniform. Recently, we've seen the pictures on social media, and the Ghana Police Service has not come out to debunk those pictures. You wonder whether the people are going to grow old into the uniform. The uniform looks like Batakari on them. It's oversized on them. Some of the people, we know the recruitment age for the service. Some of them look like my grandfather.
Oh, well, how do we solve this though? Because this is something that it's not just one particular group that's doing. We have record of it being done prior to now. How do we correct this? Because at the end of the day, the fallouts in that recruitment affect all of us.
Yes, you see, no, I've told you that, yes, there is, I won't sit here and say, oh, NDC didn't do anything wrong with reference recruitment. But I've said to you that there was a certain base requirement. And that's where you had our foot soldiers saying to us that to shoot, do I need to calculate, do I need maths and English to learn how to shoot? That was what the NDC foot soldiers asked us, because we insisted you must have your grades, which are the basic requirements for recruitment into the army or the police service. Then people doesn't care about those base recruitments. They will just recruit. I say people don't even know how to spell their name in police college. You understand? But they're there. If you have, and that's why you didn't have this incidence of misbehavior of officers under the NDC. No. But it's happening today because the loyalty of these officers or these men who are being enlisted into the service is not to their commanding officer. It is to some politician sitting in Accra. And that's where the problem is. So the politicians must allow the military hierarchy and the police hierarchy do their work. There must be disciplinary measure. But you see, trust me, if you identify the officer who took the shot in the marksman style and killed people in Nigeria, and for all you care, maybe he's got some big political godfather, so the case will become a foolish case because his godfather has stepped in for him. That is the bane of our country.
Well, we're still waiting.
When officers stormed the chamber of parliament on the 6th and 7th, the officer who led them, Colonel Joseph Punamani, he's head of presidential security. We know him. At that day, I told him that what he has done is tantamount to a coup d'etat.
With a
but the point I'm asking is, even Parliament, nobody has been able. The Ministry of Defense said they are going to do an investigation. Parliament said they will do an investigation. The man is still head of presidential security. Nobody has done anything to him. Why? How would you do anything to any other person? Once you start to shift the goalpost for some people, and you don't have a level playing field for everybody, it will not happen. So even the one we know, the one we've seen Philly, the one that threatened our democracy here, what we know, people are playing ball with it.
So there's a good aspect to all of this, because the Interior Minister has commissioned a panel to look into these issues, particularly in Nigeria. He's been there himself. He's asking for an inquiry, which we are all waiting for, because he'll give us more information.
No, we are waiting for an inquiry report.
From the Interior Minister. You don't want us to wait for that report. What do we do instead? That is what's going to give us a blueprint.
You've got a good sense
of what has happened and how we can solve it and avoid future occurrences.
You think so?
You don't think so?
What has the Interior Minister done about Techiman South? That happened 6 months ago. What has he done about that?
Still pending.
He's not solved. He's not told you what is the outcome of investigations in Techiman South. He's not told you what's the outcome of the invasion of Parliament. This same Interior Minister sat there under this President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and did nothing with the Emil Short report. And you think that a report on Nigeria is going to change something? No,
there's a judge on the panel.
There's
the CEO of Pen Plus Bites.
Wait. Okay, name the panel for me. A judge.
Some choice.
A judge on the panel. Well, a Supreme Court judge, not just a judge, sat on the Emil Short Commission report, a panel. Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu. She's on your Supreme Court today.
There's a CSO CEO on the panel.
What?
CSO, 10 plus bytes.
Right. So what would the CSO head do?
They are not biased. They are honest. CSOs.
The problem is not the report. The problem is implementing what the report says. You had a former IGP.
So when the report comes,
you had a former head of SRAJ. Justice in
it starts. When the report comes, then we can talk about the implementation.
We'll start from the old reports that are there.
Are you saying the interior minister is not credible?
It's not the interior minister, it's the president. The Oga at the top. It's the Oga at the top. The interior minister answers to the president. But the white paper...
But it's the president who has directed him to commission that inquiry. So clearly the president is doing something right.
No.
And when that report comes, then we can talk about implementation.
Let me lay it out.
Let
me lay it out for you, plain.
So are you saying these inquiries don't work?
You have hope. Wait, you have hope in a committee that the president has asked his interior minister to set up?
Yes.
Okay. Now you know why I don't have hope in that?
No.
Because the president himself, this one he didn't ask somebody, he himself set up a committee. The persons on that committee, with the greatest of respect to the persons on this interior minister committee, are of a higher pedigree than whatever the interior minister has set up. Because that was the president. The highest commission you can have in this country is a presidential commission. What I'm talking about is a ministerial commission. There was a presidential commission set up. They sat on national TV. The interior minister's committee, are they going to sit on national TV?
Honorable.
They sat on national TV. We watched, we saw, we heard. They have done their report. And after doing their report, what did the president do? That report, they've used it to sell a brody in Cartier. They are not working with it.
So if you're saying we don't trust all these
I don't trust President Akufo-Addo to work on the report that will come out.
So why should we trust Parliament's inquiry, which the minority asked for?
Because we will come and say what we found. But you
how
see,
sure are we that you will also bring the truth? If you're saying we don't trust an inquiry by the president,
you see that's
a presidential inquiry,
we're not getting the point.
Why should we trust
even Parliament, when we do our inquiry and we find a report, Parliament, the minority doesn't have the power to punish anybody in the army.
Then why is the minority even bothering?
Because we want to establish for tomorrow's sake what the truth is. Listen, go and take the NDC's
manifesto. How do we know your truth will not be biased?
Go and take the NDC's manifesto, the People's Manifesto. You will see that in there, under peace and security, President Mahama pledged that he was going to implement the recommendations of the Emil Short Commission report. It's there. If we had one power, because it's about political will. It's about the man who sits at the top. Parliament can do an impartial work, provide a report that indicts the people. If the president, who is commander-in-chief, does not allow the recommendations to be done, the buck stops with him.
So
the man is passing in the air and sleeping on the job and not focusing on the job.
Who will implement Parliament's recommendations that you have commissioned?
That's what I'm saying to you. It will come back to the commander-in-chief, the minority.
So why is the minority doing it?
You need to have the facts and evidence there for posterity, so that tomorrow,
who's better to show us those facts than the interior minister?
The interior minister who reports to the guy at the top who is sleeping at the job.
Honorable Sam George, we'll come back to this discussion shortly. If you're home and you're just joining us, we're speaking with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram constituency, the Honorable Sam George. People call him Jata. He hasn't even explained to us why they call him Jata. He put a lion here also. There are a few lions around us. We're going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to him on some other issues, including LGBTQ+ issues within the country. Stay with us.
Opinions are like onions. Everybody has one.
Abortion is a no-no. As a human being, you must take responsibility for all your actions and inactions. Your misjudgment shouldn't be enough grounds to take a life.
No. I disagree with you because look, if you do not legalize it, people will go to quack doctors anyway who might end up not just kill the baby but the mother as well.
Why should I waste my time joining a long queue under the hot sun to vote for a political party, knowing very well that nothing would be achieved at the end of the day?
Something will be achieved. It's your civic responsibility to turn out to vote. Vote and vote for a good leader.
Governments need to cater to every graduate, diversify the economy, invest in other sectors.
But the government cannot do it all. That is why we need the youth to take up the mantle and set up their own businesses. That is how we will create economic viability.
Here on Opposing Views, we take your views, my views, and the views of the experts and put them in the right context for you, our discerning viewers.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Nwang Falong. I'm speaking to the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram constituency, Honorable Sam George. We're speaking earlier about security issues within the country. Presently, some members of Parliament are raising a private member's bill to ban activities related to LGBTQ+. I want to find out from him why it is necessary, why they are not spending time on other bills, and why we want to criminalize such activities and related activities when we already have laws that make it criminal. Is it necessary to have a bill when we have laws against that already? Honorable Sam George will be answering these questions and more. Honorable.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for your time. I was telling my viewers about your lions in here. I hope you don't.
Welcome to the den.
I hope you don't have live lions in your house.
I think the law bans me from, but maybe I'll bring a private member's
You've
bill
thought
as
about
well
it
too.
Okay. Honorable, what is this bill about?
Basically, this bill is to provide for proper human sexual rights.
What?
Proper human sexual rights.
What do you mean proper?
And Ghanaian values. And then to also prescribe LGBTQI+ and its related activities, prescribe the propaganda of advocacy for and the promotion of LGBTQIAAP+ and its related activities.
Let me get this straight. Prescribe the propaganda of advocacy.
Yes. So
why are you telling advocates what to do?
Well, you cannot advocate for armed robbery in this country, so you are telling advocates not to do that.
You're essentially trying to criminalize the advocacy also.
Yes, because if advocating for something that is criminal is criminal. So if you start advocating for the rights of prostitutes, prostitution is criminal. So advocacy for prostitution is criminal. So armed robbery is criminal. Murder is criminal. So advocacy for it is criminal.
So what do we do with the advocates?
They should find a new job.
A lot of them have jobs.
Yeah, so then you cannot advocate. And when we even see the propaganda of it includes media houses, and we go into the bill,
when you become criminal, what's the action that goes into that?
Well, some of the offences in this bill are considered as a second-degree felony. Some are also regarded as a misdemeanor. So, I mean, and then there are the inchoate offences as usual, and the Criminal Offences Act guides us in that respect. But largely, what we're looking to do is to go along with tightening the law. And in your intro, you spoke about the fact that we already have laws. Yes, we have Section 104 of the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29. But you see, when you look at the Supreme Court ruling in Banusin versus the Republic of 8th March 2014, what it does is it makes it difficult because that ruling has defined what is natural canal knowledge and what is unnatural canal knowledge, and what Section 104 talks about is unnatural canal knowledge. And so in that case, you would only be able to use that to deal with cases involving gayism, lesbianism, bisexuality, bestiality, queer, and all of those are not considered by this. And you should realize that all of those are latter
So you want it to be more detailed.
All of those are latter day variations of homosexuality. In 1960, when Act 29 was passed, It was basically about gayism largely. You understand me? So you're bringing your law up to be able to deal with the 21st century challenges of homosexuality.
I was reading some comments on Facebook related to this particular story about the bill, and a lot of people were commenting about all the things in Ghana. So much goes into a private member's bill, including resources. Why are the MPs involved not spending time on any other important issue? Why is LGBTQ plus so pressing to the MPs?
Well, LGBTQ is, for me, it's a personal crusade, and I spoke to my colleagues about it and said, look, we'll put our money where our mouth is and get this done, because it's a social issue, and it goes beyond just the sexual preferences of a few people. It also goes all the way to the definition of what is the family, what is marriage. All of those things are defined and dealt with extensively in this bill. Now, our hands are also tied by the Constitution. You cannot propose. You cannot propose in
tongues against this.
You cannot propose. Oh wait, I'll come to that issue. I mean, there's a lot of misconception about that. You cannot propose a private member's bill that would impose costs on the state. So, if your private member's bill would demand that the state does anything that will cost the state a dime, your bill cannot pass through Parliament. So, if you look at this bill, there is absolutely no cost to the government of Ghana. That's the only way this bill will be able to go through. Now, on the issue of prayer, what people don't know is that we've got a parliamentary Christian fellowship and a parliamentary Muslim fellowship. The parliamentary Christian fellowship meets every Tuesday to pray as Christians. And in most offices, they have a Christian fellowship or a Muslim association or fellowship. Now, in meeting on Tuesday, we decided to invite the speaker and present this bill to him. So we had our prayer meeting, after which the speaker, that's why the speaker was not present at the prayer meeting. The prayer meeting is a regular thing that happens in Parliament on Tuesdays. On Fridays, the Muslims also have their meeting and prayer. And so we meet on Tuesdays to have our prayer. And so we had a prayer, and it is not a bad thing. Look, people say, look at other countries. Are they aware that in the United States, in fact, and I was glad the speaker spoke about it, the United States in the Capitol building, which houses the Senate and the House of Reps in the United States, they have a weekly prayer session, and they have a national day of prayer where all the senators and Republicans, all government appointees, and in fact, presidents from other countries. President Mills has traveled. President Mills had traveled there. President Akufo-Addo has traveled to attend a national prayer day in the US. So presidents from other countries go to the Congress of the US to go and join in a prayer session by senators.
What else does the prayer session here in Ghana with the MPs pray against that passport? This is the one we've heard about.
No, because this is the one, because the media was invited to cover the presentation to the speaker of the bill. The media was there early enough to capture the breakfast prayer meeting, which, like I said, this Tuesday, if you like, come again to the 12th floor of Job 600. It's a prayer meeting that we always have.
Honorable, what happens to the people your bill identifies as gay people?
Well, practitioners, advocates, promoters of homosexuality, like I said, the bill prescribes the action, and so they are grouped into two categories. There's those that will be treated as second-degree felonies, and those that will be treated as misdemeanors as well. But all of them will be punished by law.
How do you identify them?
Well,
How can you tell that someone has been engaged in gay activity?
Oh, I mean, you're going into the operationality of the law.
Especially if they are inside their rooms.
So long as there is evidence to suggest and support a case, it will be made. I mean, you can't just wake up. You can't wake up. Sorry?
If the evidence is fabricated.
Well, that will be for the judge to determine. When it goes to court, the prosecution will have to prove his case.
Honorable,
so I can't look at your face. I can't look at your face and say, because you have dreads, I think you are gay, or you are bisexual, or you are pansexual. So because of that, go to court. I would have to prove my case in court. So you see, let's be clear here. This is no witch hunt. I'm a Christian.
It seems like it doesn't. Doesn't this instigate the public against people they think are gay?
Look, one of the core provisions of this bill in Section 5 is a duty to report. So we actually make it a duty to report. A person in whose presence an offense is committed. You hear the language? A person in whose presence an offense is committed under this act shall report the commission of the offense to a police officer or in the absence of a police officer to a political leader, opinion leader or the customary authorities of the community in which the offense is committed. Then subsection 2 of that section says, a leader or authority to whom a report is made under subsection 1 shall within 7 days of the report ensure that the report is lodged at the nearest police station, and B, assist the police in the investigation and prosecution of the matter. So you see, we are prescribing, one of the things we do is to impose a duty for you not to carry out extrajudicial treatments of persons caught in the act. Let's be clear on this.
Already gives them,
you know. Let's be clear on this. We respect the human. We respect the human rights of homosexuals, but we would not recognize their perverse sexual preference. Homosexuality is not a human right.
Do you recognize people start beating them in the name?
Anybody who beats a homosexual when they catch them would also face the law for criminal assault. It's here. What we are saying is, when you catch the person or you find someone in that act, hand them over to lawful custody, because they have human rights. The fundamental human right to a fair trial before a competent court of jurisdiction is one of the things we support.
I like that you mentioned human rights. Oh, no, a lot of people believe that gay rights are human rights.
They are not human rights.
Why not? They are human beings.
Then in the same way you tell me bestiality is a human right, you tell me pedophilia is a human right, necrophilia is a human right.
The two do not relate.
Who says they do not relate?
One is to do with consent. Okay, where homosexuality is concerned, there are two adults who have given consent.
In fact, in this bill, we talk about victims of homosexuality. There are several persons involved in homosexuality who are not doing it out of consent. They are doing it under duress because of economic or social consequences. So a very powerful person in society is hitting on them, chasing after them, pressuring them. So under that pressure,
that happens with straight people also.
Absolutely. But then for us, when that person succumbs, we don't see that person as just a perpetrator of homosexuality, but as a victim, and we offer support to that victim as well. And we have, in the course of this preparing this bill, we've engaged with several people practicing and who have also stopped the practice of it. And so let's be clear here. There are people who get into homosexuality because she's a woman. She wants to go to school. She goes to an office. She's looking for scholarship. The person who has the authority or the power to give her that scholarship says, I like you. I want you to be my girlfriend. Get her involved in lesbianism as a way to give her what she wants. Or says, I don't have a job. I'll give you a job. You become my girlfriend or you become my boyfriend. The man is a man. And so there are several aspects of this. So we don't just look at, we look at those who are preys, predators, and go after them. And those who are victims as well are offered the opportunity. So in here, it is just like the way when people are arrested for assault, and you can clearly tell that this person has anger management problems. The judge doesn't just jail the person. The judge gives the person the opportunity to go through anger management classes with a reputed and certified anger management specialist. So that all of those help and support systems are in this bill. When the bill is properly laid before Parliament, in fact, the Speaker had indicated that we'll do it today, but the Speaker has had to travel to Wa because of this misbehavior and so of the military. So hopefully next week it will be laid, and then the committee will be referred to the appropriate committee, and I'm sure that we'll have a stakeholder engagement with anybody who wants to come and debate the issues.
There are many countries in which this used to be criminal.
Yes.
Gay rights, practicing it was criminal.
Yes.
But a lot of countries recognize this as the dark days of civilization. This was backward and in the past, and a lot of countries have repealed such laws and are trying to be progressive as part of many development goals. Why is Ghana now, are we progressing or we are regressing? Why are we now going back?
The fact that some people see madness as sexy and attractive doesn't make them progressive. So the fact that people see homosexuality or term homosexuality as progressive, as a right or as a liberation of things, doesn't make them progressive. Okay? Article 2 of the UN Charter gives us our sovereignty and gives us the power and mandate to determine our own rules. So we are not bound by the madness of other countries or the insanity of other societies.
What if they do something
some of those other societies?
A lot of those societies have developed better than us.
Oh, well, it is not because they legalized homosexuality that they developed.
Yes, but
so you cannot draw that. And there are developed societies. Look, and people think that it's all moving in a certain direction. Who told you that? In the United States, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled against a homosexual couple just last week. okay, in favor of a Catholic business that said they would not offer them service. Hungary, which is a member of the United European Union, has passed legislation just last week against homosexuality. The European Court of Justice has ruled that homosexuals do not have the right to determine marriage and rights in a country. The European Court of Justice. So when people paint the picture that Europe is all for it, that is not true. That the European Court of Justice is the highest human rights court in Europe. And this case went all the way there, and they ruled, it was a unanimous decision, that look, homosexuals cannot claim equality and determine national policy. And when you take Ghana's constitution, Article 39 and 34 of the constitution, directive principles of state policy are clear. Now look, you have rights, but your rights are not absolute. In this case, the right to a sexual preference is not stated in the constitution. That's why I said your fundamental human rights.
But we know that people cannot be discriminated against on the basis of sex. That's stated in the constitution.
Well, yes, you're not discriminating against people on the basis of sex. If there's any discrimination here, it's against sexual preference.
No, your sexual orientation is closely connected.
No, you see, you are talking about connection. The constitution did not talk about connection. If you want to write your own constitution, write your own constitution. But the constitution of Ghana does not talk about a connection with sexual preference. And that's what I'm saying to you, that look, these jurisdictions you talk about, some of them have legalized prostitution. So you want us to also legalize prostitution? That's what is going to be.
If we think that it agrees with our society,
that is what is going to show that we are a forward-thinking society. You think that legalizing deviant behavior is what shows that you are forward-thinking?
Deviant behavior, according to your description of it.
According to our social norms and traditional culture. Every country is shaped by its traditions, its social cultural norms, and what the people stand for. Show me one traditional area, one, in this country that supports homosexuality.
Honorable, we are actually running out of time.
Show me one.
But if you go back in the history of a lot of our people, you will find that these people occurred within society and were tolerated. They
were always considered as outcasts and deviants. They
existed peacefully within the community.
Community always saw them as an aberration, as a taboo, and as a curse. I have engaged. Look, the National House of Chiefs. The National House of Chiefs supports this. We engaged with them.
When is this bill going forward?
Sorry?
When is it going forward?
It should have been laid before Parliament today, but for the misbehavior of some soldiers in Wada had the Speaker have to go to war.
How soon do you expect it to pass?
Next week. The Speaker has indicated that he's committed to this and that before the end of this year to pass. And for me, I am excited about this. I believe that before the end of this year to pass, and the President must give presidential accent to it.
I hope all the members of Parliament supporting this with so much fervor.
Well, I am daring any member of Parliament to take a stand on the floor of the House and debate against this.
No, I mean the energy with which you are approaching this, and all other members of Parliament, including the Speaker, I hope they do the same when the Affirmative Action Bill comes before them. Honourable,
hopefully,
your last comments. We will. Your constituents are listening.
Well, to my constituents, I'm grateful to you for your support on this bill. I held 18 town hall meetings on this bill, and in 18 of them in my constituency, they were clear. MP, go forward. We don't want this. It's a taboo. The Ningo Traditional Council is against it. The Pampam Traditional Council is against it, and we would do this and make sure that we protect the sanctity of our culture and our tradition. And I'm grateful to them for giving me this great opportunity to serve them in Parliament. Without them giving me this opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to do this.
Sanctity of our culture and tradition.
Absolutely.
Says the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram. He's doing this for sanctity of culture and tradition, and according to what he has been told by his constituents and other people that he has engaged, I'm sure the other members of Parliament in support of this bill also have evidence to back that they are being supported by their constituents. My name is Nwong Falong. You've been watching Spotlight on MX24. We spoke very spiritedly to the Honourable Sam Jata George of Ningo Pampam. Join us again same time Thursday evening, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Good evening.
Celebrity Communities should be able to understand that political seasons come and go.
If a woman is running for a CEO or a COO something and then she's not married, then this woman is going to be rude.
Politics is the act of decision making.
You go to school and you learn a bunch of stuff that really you don't end up using. So then what's the purpose?
The quantum of graduates coming out of school every year, they realize that the job is inadequate.
Angelina, you be cool in my temperature. If you call, say cheese, take a picture. Shaka pose, make I see, take a picture. In the leg book, boah. Why the party there today? Hey mama, hey I have a sip. Shake your body.
Magical to watch. I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
Again, World of Dance, another level.
This could be one of the best moments of my life.
I need you to remember we're scoring out of 100.
What we do has consequences, intended and unintended. The decisions we make, the actions we bring, have weight.
When did it become a crime to succeed in this country?
We spotted a suspect trading pattern. All three firms have links to Bobby Axelrod.
Be careful out there.
Opinions are like onions. Everybody has one.
Abortion is a no-no. As a human being, you must take responsibility for all your actions and inactions. Your misjudgment shouldn't be enough grounds to take a life.
No. I disagree with you because look, if you do not legalize it, people will go to quack doctors anyway who might end up not just kill the baby but the mother as well.
Why should I waste my time joining a long queue under the hot sun to vote for a political party, knowing very well that nothing would be achieved at the end of the day?
Something will be achieved. It's your civic responsibility to turn out to vote. Vote and vote for a good leader.
Governments need to cater to every graduate, diversify the economy, invest in other sectors.
But the government cannot do it all. That is why we need the youth to take up the mantle and set up their own businesses. That is how we will create economic viability.
Here on Opposing Views, we take your views, my views, and the views of the experts and put them in the right context for you, our discerning viewers.